Hello. Welcome to Hoop Reports. How you guys doing? Let's just jump right in. Kawhi Leonard has a $36 million player option in the 2021 offseason, but he might just reject that, leave Clipper Nation, and sign with the Golden State Warriors. If he does that, what does that mean for the 2021-2022 Warriors team? Well, first off, let's see how all this can happen. As you all know, Kawhi left the Raptors in 2019 after winning the championship in Toronto. He stated that the reason he left was to be closer to home. It makes sense. Nobody can blame him. Who'd want to be that far away from family? I mean, working 8 to 9 months per year and only being able to see your family in that short off-season isn't exactly the type of life any person would want to live. So as a result, he left Toronto and made it seem like he was going to sign with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody was talking about it. Newspaper headlines were full of it, and of course, Stephen A. Smith was screaming about it on ESPN, and then the news came, suddenly, that both Kawhi and Paul George were officially Clippers. It was a 3-year contract that he signed, with the final year being a player option in the event that he no longer wants to stay a Clipper. Question, does anybody want to stay a Clipper? Just saying. Back to Kawhi. Well, depending on how this year plays out, he might just not want to stay in his current organization. Let's take a look at this year so far. As of today, the Clippers are sitting in the 3rd seed in the Western Conference and are the hottest team in the West, with 9 wins and 1 loss in their last 10 games. That is fire. If the playoffs started today, they'd go up against the Dallas Mavericks, who are currently the 6th seed. And that is where this whole thing can blow up into smithereens. Last season, the Clippers did go up against the Mavericks in the first round. The Clippers won in 6 games and were the better team, but they did show vulnerability. First off, Luka Doncic was just sensational in his first playoff appearance and showed the world he belongs in the MVP conversation. This year, Luka's even more experienced. Second, the other star on the Mavericks, Porzingis, was sidelined in the playoffs. Porzingis was ejected in Game 1 for a technical foul, which was widely criticized. LeBron James called it bogus, and Dirk Nowitzki called it soft. The Mavs were winning by 5 points at the time of the ejection, and I can't help but think the Mavs would have won that game if Porzingis wasn't ejected. And I can't help but think the Mavs would have won that series if Porzingis didn't get injured as the series continued.
Zubac comes out, hands were down. Porzingis for 3.
Man, I mean, the 7'3" Latvian star was just a beast in the 3 games he played. He was averaging about 24 points, 9 boards, while shooting 53% from beyond the arc. If the Mavericks can stay healthy and continue playing well, and the Clippers lose in the first round against Dallas, then there's a good chance that Kawhi could be packing his bags and looking into other alternatives. Kawhi's player option will also depend a lot on his co-star, Paul George. PG-13 has been having a revenge season so far this year. He's scoring 24 points a game while having the most efficient year of his career. The man is nearly averaging a 50, 40, and 90. It is just the regular season though, and we'll have to see who arrives in the postseason, whether it's Playoff P or George Paul. If George Paul shows up in uniform this year in the postseason and is hitting the side of the backboard in late game situations, and if they lose in the first round against the Dallas Mavericks, there's a pretty good chance Kawhi Leonard rejects his $36 million player option and looks to further his legacy in a different organization, like say, the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors. Let's say Kawhi does decide to relocate to a different team. Why Dub Nation? First off, heading east would put him further away from his family, and I doubt Kawhi would want that. I mean, that is one of the reasons he returned home to California in the first place. From here, you gotta look at the different Western Conference teams he can pair up with that'll give him the best chance of furthering his legacy. He's already rejected the Lakers once before, so I really don't think he'll want to sign there. There would just be too much scrutiny in the news if he did sign there. Next off, although the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns are doing well this season, I don't think those are the type of locations that many stars are looking to move to. Golden State, however, is still in sunny California and is just a 6-hour drive away from Staples Center, or just a 1-hour flight away, so that still gives him a lot of flexibility with being with his family. And then there's the other side of the coin. He'll be able to pair up with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Can you imagine Kawhi, Steph, Klay, and Draymond? Damn. Just thinking about that squad gives me chills. I mean, a two-time MVP in Curry, a Defensive Player of the Year in Draymond, and one of the top catch-and-shoot shooting guards of all time in Klay. Does all this make the Warriors the favorites, though? Let's take a look. Klay is coming back from that Achilles injury, but look at how Durant returned from his Achilles injury. Honestly, Durant looks like he didn't miss a step. I'd say that Klay comes back about 90%, with all his shooting skills intact. Steve Kerr, however, doesn't have to put a minutes restriction on Klay, but does have to put a dunking ban on Klay. Klay Thompson should never attempt a dunk, ever, ever, ever again. Period. Steph this season has been playing arguably the best season he's ever played. I mean, check these out. Just absolutely ridiculous. If Steph remains injury-free, I don't really see him regressing next season. The same goes with Draymond Green. Although his outside shooting percentage has been downright horrendous, his ability to rebound the ball, dish out assists, and his ability to defend is first class. And I don't see that taking much of a regression next season. With Klay and Steph's off-ball movement and their ability to knock down threes from anywhere, Kawhi is going to have all the room in the world to operate in the mid-range. And if you haven't seen Kawhi play recently, he lives in the mid-range. There'd be a domino effect with Kawhi as well. I mean, if there are any ring chasers in the NBA, who wouldn't want to join a team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kawhi Leonard? DeMar DeRozan, Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony? Who knows? All of these players are already loaded with money, so I'm sure if the opportunity presented themselves and their phone rang, there'd be a decent conversation about coming over. Now, for the other role players that are already on the roster. James Wiseman would now have a shortened and injury-riddled season of experience under his belt and another 82 games to improve. It's not outrageous to think Wiseman could average 15 points and 9 rebounds next season. The Warriors should be signing Gary Payton II to a longer contract as well. The man can play defense and can move without the ball, and his energy coming off the bench, damn. He just needs to take a few three-point lessons with Steph and Klay, and then he'll be ready to ink that multi-year contract. Juan Toscano-Anderson needs a multi-year contract as well. I still can't believe with the amount of production he's been putting up that he's still just on a two-way contract. I don't know, shaking my head. Kevon Looney seems to always be in the right place at the right time, and the man is showing off some other skills this season as well. Andrew Wiggins or Kelly Oubre, one of the two are probably going to have to leave if Kawhi comes in, and that's unfortunate because, to be honest, I like them both. I think they're both playing great basketball, but man, when it comes to signing Kawhi Leonard, he's a cyborg beast, and we're going to have to do what Coach Popovich did with the George Hill trade situation. In this case, it'll most likely be Andrew Wiggins leaving, because his salary is closer to Kawhi's salary. If Kelly Oubre is coming off the bench with Gary Payton II, JTA, and Looney, and if Wiseman could average 15 and 9, then I'm going to have to say this is the team to beat in the league. As good as the Big Three in Brooklyn are, I don't see them winning. LeBron and his Lakers won't beat this Warriors team either. If Giannis loses to Miami again this season in another 4-1 series, there's a good chance that even the Greek Freak might be discontent and demand a trade. To be honest, if Kawhi does sign with the Warriors, I don't see this Dubs team losing to anybody in a 7-game series. Bob Myers needs to do what he said he'd do. And that is to be more than a little aggressive when it comes to assembling an elite squad. I mean, he already has the backing of Joe Lacob, who'd do anything to win. Now, the only thing left to do is show this video to Bob Myers. How do I do that, though? Gosh, I need a beer.